This episode is actually here by popular demand because we've been getting so many questions coming in from the country, from seed reps and district managers of what are some of those last minute things that we want to keep on top of mind, right? That set those expectations as we get ready to start the planting season. So in the meantime, Craig's here today. We're going to hit him with some rapid fire questions. We're just going to go through and get those knocked out so that you can get started. All right, welcome, Craig. How you doing?
I cannot complain. It's raining here now. We got rain last night. Good thing about that is we're starting to get a little antsy. Got a few things to do before we get in the field planting, and when we get a rain delay, sometimes that kind of calms things down a little bit. So I'm doing good.
Well, again, thanks for joining us. I know I'm happy that we can hear you well. We got some really good feedback from your associate producer back at home, your
Yes, my
daughter.
daughter, my daughter Elena, who turns 21 today, by the way.
What?
So big shout out to Elena, and she wanted me to tell you hi.
Oh, that's awesome. Happy Merry Birthmas to her. Well, let's jump to it. So, um, you know, it, perfect timing for the first question, how this was lined up by our
Yeah, and rapid fire. I I did
rapid
a
fire.
little
Ready?
stretching this morning, ran a couple miles to get ready. So
Good.
and I've seen this on TV, this rapid fire thing. So I'm all ready. Go
You're
ahead.
ready for it. We're gonna take my spin. Here we go. Greg, in your mind, what's the ideal soil temperature to plant in?
Okay, pass. That's how you do it, right? If I don't
Something
get
like
that
that.
question, I pass, come back to it.
Come back to it when you're ready for it, right? Get
Right.
everything
Yeah.
warmed up.
Right. Because that's a loaded question because some of us will want to plant when it's a little too cool. So sometimes when I mention the ideal temperature, that kind of upsets some people. But the ideal temperature is around 50 degrees, and that's pretty proven to be totally safe. Now, we can probably push that a little bit, and sometimes it all boils down to what it's going to do afterwards. Is the temp going to continue to rise and things like that? So we can push the envelope a bit, but 50 degrees, in a lot of studies that have gone on forever, is your temperature that you'd like the soil to be, at that planting depth. So whatever that is for you, 2 to 3 inches, generally with corn, we would like it to be that temp, and the forecast is for those temps to stay that way, or hopefully rise even higher. And keep in mind, if we've waited until conditions are pretty ideal, so it's not overly wet down there, the drier the soil is, the easier it is for the air to get down, through those that pore space, and so fluctuations in temperature can get down to that seed a lot quicker when it's drier. So yeah, but 50 degrees, both corn and soybeans, is what we would like to see.
All right. What about planting depth? What should folks be targeting?
Playing depth with corn, I like to get at least 2 inches. Some people will say inch 3/4. Up to 3 inches is not too much. The most important thing is that you're putting that seed in moisture so it can start that germination process.
All right. If a cold snap's coming in, how many hours do we need to make sure that the seed is in the ground before it comes in?
So cold snap coming in, we're mostly worried about imbibitional chilling. So that cold as it's soaking in that first drink of water. So with corn, 24 to 48 hours is what we would like to have before that cold sets in. With soybeans, about 8 hours.
All right. Now, if those little fellas do take that cold drink, that first cold drink, what is some of those that that cold soil or cold first drink effects on the seedling?
Literally, we can just kill the germination. You might see a corn seed that's swollen up and not even the radicle hasn't even come out, which is the first structure that'll start the primary root system. It may not even come out. It may come out and then stop. I mean, literally, you're just blowing up the cells, with that cold water, and so that's what you would get, as opposed to uh, just cold injury that may cause the corkscrewing and leafing out into the ground.
What is what's your take on future rains and how should folks try to factor that in as they're working their planning?
Get the best forecast that you can possibly find, if there is such a thing, that is proven in your area to be fairly reliable, and try to You can't wait forever. Sometimes you've had that you have a great window, you get a forecast and never turns out. You've missed maybe a couple of good days of planning. So it's do your best, which is what we all try to do.
Speaking of forecasts, and I know how much you love models, what's an extended outlook telling us this season?
Well, there are some, as opposed to models, which I think models are normally wrong. They've proven that through the years, but there are some long-term cycles that say that we may be heading into a drought. I do think things like La Nina and El Nino are pretty accurate. So as we watch those things set up, we watch the jet stream set up. Those are pretty good indicators of what the weather's going to be like this summer. So potential drought that's been alleviated somewhat by the moisture we've had here in February and March. So continued moisture would be a good thing. Our soils will hold that moisture really well in the Midwest. And so if we can get charged up pretty good going into planting, we'll raise a decent crop.
Okay. So what should I'm interested in, as you're looking at weather outlooks or forecasts or things like that. What do you think folks should really focus on when they're reading this forecast? Are we talking dew point, wind, moisture?
Well, we're going to look at our soil conditions as farmers. So we're going to get out there and do some digging and determine if it's dry enough to plant. So if it's too wet, we're going to smear that sidewall, with our disc openers. And if we smear that sidewall and then it dries out right away, those sidewalls are like concrete. The roots will not penetrate through there, at least until we get more rain and soften that up a little bit. We get that tomahawk root, where they're growing right down the trench. We want those roots to grow out to get as much moisture and nutrients as possible. So we're really looking at if our conditions are right first, and then what the prediction of the weather is going to be, and then decide if we trust it after that.
There's a big swing of folks putting beans in the ground before corn. What's the logic there?
Logic there is we have discovered through the years that if we get beans in early enough and we grow to at least the V3 stage on the front side of the summer solstice, which is June 21st, soybeans starting flowering is all about length of night. So if we get to that growth stage, we can start flowering 2 to 3 weeks, maybe more than we used to when we planted in mid-May. That gives us, on average, a couple of more nodes on the plant, and that's going to give us, because we spend 10 days or 2 weeks more in the R2 stage, which is flowering up and down. A couple more nodes times however many pod clusters are on there equals yield. So that's the logic behind it. We've proven it really well, and I think it's a great program.
Well, and with sun, it's you can't just gain more sun hours as it's limited, right? So you're gonna run out of sun and take it, maximize it when you can. So tap into it by going a little bit early. Makes sense.
Yep.
Um, any wild card tips for farmers that are heading into planting season, or what's that one thing you make sure you always do?
I think it's just to be prepared by that early date that you target that you want to plant. So with us, April 10th is the insurance date on soybean planting. So we want to make sure our equipment is ready by April the 10th. We open the door of the machine shed, pull out, load the seed, and go. If the soil conditions are conducive, we don't want it again to be too wet more than anything, and the temperature and what we think the forecast is. So be prepared so that you can capitalize on that and execute when that day gets here, because our windows are sometimes really small anymore in planting seasons between rains.
Perfect. Final and most important question coming in. What is your top pick for tenderloins in Wisconsin?
My top pick in Wisconsin is its southern neighbor of Sycamore, Illinois, which is access from Wisconsin both freely and fairly quickly. I mean, it's only like a half-hour drive down there. So Mark Todd took me there last year. It's like a beer batter type of breading on it. It's got the size, it's got the juiciness and the flavor. It's worth a trip if you're in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. Probably not, central on up. It probably not that good, but Yeah.
Makes
I've
sense.
yet to have a really tremendous tenderloin in Wisconsin. I throw that challenge out there to people to get me to a really, really good tenderloin place.
This is good. And and we hit Iowa often and but so you DeKalb County, Illinois, you've got a solid what's the name of the outfit that's got that good tenderloin?
Dirty Bird in Sycamore, Illinois.
Dirty
The
Bird.
Dirty
Love.
Bird. Yes, I can get you the hours it's open if you want to. I think probably 11 o'clock it opens in the
We might
morning.
have to go fly the drone out there for scouting something, I'm sure,
Yeah.
here coming up. So
Yeah, and
this is
Wisconsin has all those good fish fries on Friday nights, so they got the breading down. I don't know why we don't have good, good tenderloins up there. Too focused on the fish, I guess,
Well,
and the
that's kind of what I'm
sausages.
thinking.
Yeah.
It's a cheese and pork. They just that's
Yeah.
priorities, right? So now in Iowa though, if you as you cross through, because everybody hits you with Iowa first. What's that top pick there?
Oh, I'm not even going to remember the name, but I've had many in Iowa. So
Wow, the
usually somebody
competition is
takes me
fierce.
there, so I don't always remember the name of it.
I know. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. No, I appreciate you hitting all that. And essentially, I mean, we're looking at making sure you're keeping that soil temp, that planting depth, and that weather in mind as you're out there and getting ready. So, um,
Absolutely, and say and pause, dig, and measure when you first get going. Make sure you got that depth right across all the rows. Make sure you're in moisture, and then also anytime you change a type of environment, so you switch from conventional to no-till or soil types or whatever, that will change your depth. So make sure and your moisture may be different in that field. So make sure you're getting out there checking periodically through the year.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is not the year where we can throw in a bunch of input costs. So, doing those things like whether we're planning a little bit early, things are within our control, or just taking that 15 minutes to get out, even though it might not feel convenient, can make a huge difference at the end. So, thank you for highlighting that. Folks, thanks for tuning in. You know where to find us on most of the socials. And if you have any questions or would like to get one of our great digging tools for measuring your seed and going through there, get a hold of your district sales manager. Until the next one, thank you.
Thank you much.